We're now going to learn how to change the direction of the operation. So by default, most data frame operations work vertically and not horizontally. The issue here is that data frames have both a vertical and horizontal direction. So here you have, there's two dimensions. There's a vertical dimension. There's a horizontal dimension. So what we did before was to sum things up or take an aggregation in the vertical direction. But what if we wanted to aggregate horizontally? Well, you can do that by changing the access parameter. Let me show you how that's done. So maybe by default, we'll show that again first, is that every column is summed. But if you press Shift Tab Tab, you can see the first parameter is access. And by default, you don't have to put anything. It always works vertically, or for almost all methods, it will work vertically. And this is access equals to 0. That's just what it just uses the integer 0 to refer to this, to say, hey, go vertically. But if you change it to 1, you can say, hey, pandas, go horizontally. That means every row will get aggregated over here. And you see here, this is the total compensation for the first employee. This is the total compensation for the second employee and the third employee, and so forth. So the result will be the same number of rows as there are in the original. Right, so this is just the total compensation for all 50,000 of those employees. Another way of doing this, you can use the string columns. So Pandas gives you two options. This is a little confusing, actually, to have these two options, so people will switch between both. You're free to use either one. The string index is the default. Again, you will never see this for this particular method. Some methods do work horizontally by default, and then you will see this. But for the most part, you will never or very rarely see this set to index or 0, right? Those are just the default. You will, however, see access equal to 1 or the string columns. You can use either one in order to change the direction of the operation. So here is an image. You can take a look at this that summarizes what's happening. Sometimes it's difficult to remember. Is it 0 or 1? But thankfully, there are only two choices. So if you get it wrong on the first choice, then you'll get it right on the next one, right? So you go, so all three of these, you can either call it your aggregation with no parameters, no arguments, or you can set access equal to 0 or index. That's how you make it go vertically. Horizontally, you have to set access equal to 1 or column. So this is a nice little summary of what is happening.